G'day and welcome to the Ball Boys AFL Fantasy Podcast. It is the third installment of the Player Battles and we've got another special guest today. Let's go!
Just done it from nowhere. Hoisted the goal from inside the centre. Sheed from the boundary. Dusty. Petty. Petrarca. Oh, wow. How good is that? The legend becomes immortal.
G'day and welcome again to the Ball Boys AFL Fantasy Podcast. I'm your host, Mitch Casey. You can find me on Twitter at Ball Boys Fantasy. Joined, as always, with Luke. How are you?
Good, mate. Always good.
Always good. And I'm joined with Roy of Coach Destroy.
Hey, boys. How are ya?
I'm good, mate. Great to have you on. Great to have you on the show. The last one, at least for me, to catch on the Twitter follows. You were playing a bit of Pikachu games with us there on the socials for a little while, but
I did enjoy that. Yeah,
I appreciate that you've come on board. Warnie gave us a little inside scoop that you guys were giving us a little muck around there, but it's all good fun.
You guys are doing a good job. It was fun.
Yeah,
Thank
good.
you, mate.
So we've got you on here talking a few player battles, and just like for those who haven't caught up with the other boys, we've had Warnie and Calvin both on the show. Your third cab off the rank, and if you haven't checked those ones out, you can go and click the little link there over on YouTube, or scroll back in your podcast feed. But essentially, the name of the game is obviously to get as many good players in your team, but sometimes you've got to make hard decisions, right? Sometimes, unlike Pokemon, you can't catch them all. We've got to make tough choices and cut the players out that we might want to fit in our team. And so this is where we're going to pit some players that are closely priced, closely sort of projected average, or maybe sometimes it's a structured debate on what happens, especially with this first sort of player, especially. So, anything to add through there,
No,
Luke?
mate, I'm ready to rumble.
You're
Let's
ready to rumble.
do it.
So speaking of rumbling,
Yeah, get your sound effect, mate.
Let's get ready to rumble.
ding, ding, ding. Here we go. So,
Beautiful.
I'm pretty keen for this first one, to be honest, because there's been a little bit of back and forth on Twitter, especially when Luke put up his team and succumbed to the dark side of bringing Docherty into his side.
I certainly copped some heat for bringing Doc in, but I like that tidal wave of Doc supporters. I think that there's a serious case for him being in your team, and I think Roy's going to make that case for us in a sec.
I don't think it was the fact you had Doc in. It was more that you didn't stick to your guns, like we said on the podcast. And
I'm a turncoat. I'm a filthy
changed it.
turncoat.
So I'll throw it over to you first, Roy. I'm sure you'll have no trouble selling us on Docherty and why we should be selecting him in our fantasy sides.
No, he's actually the easiest pick this year, Sam Docherty. So you just think about this. Although he comes at a cost, the fact that by the end of round one, you are already trying to work out how you are going to get him in. You can't possibly sit back and watch what he's doing without having him in. So do I think his price might drop over the course of the season? Yeah, it could. It could drop up to 50,000, especially if he has like an injury game or something like that. But put yourself in that position. For you to get him when he's bottomed out, 50K, you would need to have no injuries. You're probably going to have to have money in the bank. What I'm trying to get across here is if you don't start with him, getting him in is not going to be as easy as it sounds, and it might not be for the discount that everyone is looking for. So for him to drop in that price that I've just spoken about, like I said, he's probably going to have to cop an early injury to drop, because if I speak the truth, I actually think he's a minimum 5 points underpriced at the moment.
Okay.
Yeah,
Look,
I don't mind the point you make
go.
there. I don't mind the point you make there, Roy. He's a guy that's easily capable of averaging 120 for a season. And the point you make is great, because even if he does drop just marginally, he's still exy. Like, how are you going to get him in?
Yes.
So I think it's very valid.
You turned on me early here, mate. What's going on?
I got to get on the side of the guest, mate. I'll trade you for
want me to
Roy.
keep going?
Yeah, keep
Please
going,
do,
man.
mate. Please.
Keep going.
Righto. So we saw the way he finished the year when he had some increased responsibility in the midfield, and that's exactly where he's going to pick up the season. So I definitely think he's going to run through there, and when he's not through there, he's going to be on the back flank where he dominates anyway. Now, the key numbers. Back in 2017, he averaged about that 117, 118. That's how he finished the season too. It wasn't just a small bit of data either. It was a significant amount of weeks where he averaged that 118 to finish the season, which I think is a direct preview into what we're going to get. So these Uber premiums, they probably need to add, I don't have the exact number, but they probably need to add 2 points onto their average to hold their price. So obviously,
the way the magic number works.
Yeah, exactly. So it's difficult for them to do that. But like I said, I think he's priced at a number that he is going to cover by, 5 points. So he's going to have 3 points up his sleeve, in my opinion. Now, last year, that was unbelievable to come back from his illness.
Yeah.
His pre-season was purely a pot shot at round one. An unlikely
none of us
pot
started
shot.
with him because of that fact.
Exactly. So you think about where he came from in a pre-season that was basically just to get him match ready,
Imagine what he
as
can do
opposed to a pre-season where he's come off equal career best form at the end of the year, and his pre-season hasn't been just to get there. It's been to dominate.
Yeah. No, it's all good points, and it's someone that like you can have him in your team. To me, it's the price tag and what else you can do with that money. I'll just clarify that. What was that year that he averaged 117? 20.
I think it was 2017.
Yeah, okay, six years ago. Just wanted to.
Wow, the shade.
But no, he is a gun, and obviously, like, all respect to him, and I do have him as my D1. So, as someone who is potentially looking to go against him this year, I will be, like you said, Roy, like at the start of the season, having a few sleepless nights and sort of stressing and trying to figure out how to get him in my team.
Your season could be gone before it starts.
Maybe, but to me... What's that?
Are the Blues playing the first game of the season again?
They are, yeah.
The Tigs.
Oh, my God. Your season's over. Game one.
Thursday night, Mitch, you're done.
Oh, wow.
Wow, okay, yeah.
Well, can I just tell you something? Can I just flag something with you?
Yep.
When you have to front up to a podcast week in, week out with a shit team, it is tough.
I know. It's a different kind of season for me this year when I'm podcasting as opposed to last year.
Yes.
I can go under the radar if I had a shit week, but we'll see how that goes. But... I'm thinking, I'll return serve to you. Are you, with Docherty, are you someone that you're confident to whack the C on it? I'm not talking vice captains. Are you happy to, if he's the last player in the round, to whack the C on him if your vice captain's flopped?
It's a great question. Traditionally, no, I haven't, despite my utmost respect for the guy. My chance to do it was that last round last year, where I was seriously considering it, but I didn't have the balls to do it. I think I probably ended up with someone like Cripper instead, which was a typical sort of soft move. Obviously, hiding behind the VC, I love to do that with a doc type. I have changed, though. Given that my confidence is there that he will run through the middle, which he proved to everyone, he's not just that chip and mark, slow the game down guy that, he does so well. When he's in the middle, he's an absolute bull, and he tackles like a beast in there. Given that is now going to be an aspect of his game, especially with Walsh out at the start, yes, I think I do have the confidence to put the C on him, although I would still wait a week, and you can do that. I could VC him.
Yeah, obviously he plays that first round. So my thing there is that if you're paying up for an 110 price player, regardless of what position they play, my philosophy would be that if you're paying 110 for a player, that player better be someone that you want to put a C on, because you've got the likes of Jack Steele, you've got the likes of Dunkley, and the players like Oliver, Brayshaw, all around that similar price marks, and they're your legit captain options, and so that's why for me it's sort of hard for me to justify spending that much on a player like that, even though obviously I do see him as clearly the number one defender. So I think that's the reason that I struggle to sort of pull the trigger on a player like Docherty as opposed to someone like Dunkley, which I do feel comfortable putting the C on him at the end of the round as opposed to Docherty. And I think that to me is the difference between the two players when they're both, in my eyes, clear top of their lines, but I see a little bit more upside, a bit more confidence in the role and consistency of scoring for a player like a Dunkley.
So talk to us then about Brayshaw, Mitch.
So we'll move on to Brayshaw. So he is someone that I'm obviously very keen on. I think for me, it's twofold. It's the fact that you're saving $100,000 from a Docherty, and it's also the role that we saw him change towards the end of last year. And I'm pretty confident that this is going to stick. We saw his role that goes into the midfield happen at the same time that we saw Petrarca move a little bit more into the forward line. At the same time, Salem came back into the squad. They've also filled in that wing spot with a Lockie Hunter addition in this off-season. So a few sort of things that help me sort of feel like that role is going to stick for the entire season this year. We've also seen Brayshaw in the past. Now, again, to undo my sort of 2017 argument as well, it was a little while ago, but Angus Brayshaw did, tear down the season.
He's trying to have it both ways here,
yeah, I know, right? He did tear the season down when he sort of finished strong in 2018, and I think he was, third in the Brownlow that year, and came home like an absolute steam train. I think a lot of us, or a lot of people who were playing back then, started him, the following season expecting him to do that. Maybe we were just 4 years too early. I don't know, but it's something that obviously he scores well in the inside mid role. It's not only just the last few games of last year, but previous evidence does suggest that. And I just feel a bit more safe that he might be able to get closer to a Docherty, not quite levelling him, but maybe split the middle in betweens where they start and where they might finish, if that makes sense.
So, Mitch, is there anything worrying you in terms of your Brayshaw case, the fact that we've now heard sort of little whispers about Salem and maybe his fitness leading into round one? Does that mean Goody throws the magnets around and suddenly Brayshaw ends up at half-back or on a wing?
I think maybe the half-back. I'm not worried about the wing anymore because of the addition of Lockie Hunter. Maybe the half-back of Salem is sort of under that cloud with the thyroid and that sort of thing. But in that half-back role, I think the worst he'll do is sort of like that 99, which is kind of what he was doing up until that point.
Okay.
The inside mid is like the upside over the roof kind of role. But the half-back, look, it's not ideal. I prefer him in the inside, but yeah, I think that's sort of the way I see it. What are your thoughts on Brayshaw there, Roy?
He's not currently in my team, but he has been in and out. I did factor in that Salem situation as well. My direct thought went, what does that do to his mid-roll? And then I actually got thinking on it, and I thought, I don't actually mind if he's mid or half-back anymore. I've just penciled him in as 100 guy. He's either in the mid and he's getting his tackles up, or he's on the half-back line getting his marks up. And I feel like it lands... Yeah, exactly right. It feels like it lands around that 100 mark for me. So I think he's a very serviceable pick. And if you didn't go with Docherty, I can see why you'd go with him. An important thing that you didn't factor in is his helmet. And his scoring is affected on helmet temperature.
Yeah,
sometimes he puts it in the freezer and he gets brain freeze and he cannot score. You've seen it happen, yet you're willing to back him in.
It's irresponsible, really, Mitch.
You know what I think it is? I think it's just a little bit colder out on those wings. I think it's a bit warmer in the midfield, inside.
Okay,
the helmet temperature it responds a bit better in those different positions. It's a bit colder.
It's all science, really, isn't it?
Did you see the game where they put it in the freezer?
I did see the game, yes. I do remember the game.
Yes, so you know the potential problems you're going to face here. The positive, though, and I'm with you guys on this, their wings, especially with Hunter coming in, I think he's safe from that role.
Yeah, that's the one we don't want him in.
Yeah. That's the one when we all had him after that awesome finish to the previous season. That's when he started on that wing, wasn't it?
Yeah.
And that was just putrid. So...
is there room for both, Roy?
I'm confident those days are gone. I think there is. I think you could squeeze both. At the moment, my backline's probably the weakest. I think rather than a Brayshaw, I think I go all the way down to like a Dacos at the moment.
Yeah.
Yeah, so shaving a fair bit of cash back there. But, I can't come on hating on Brayshaw because I certainly don't hate it.
Yep.
But
you're just a dog man.
choosing between him and Docherty, I'm paying up. Yeah.
The back line's going to do our head in no matter what we do, I think.
Yeah, all right.
100%.
Let's move into the midfield here. And I've set Luke a task here because the next argument, the next fight we've got here is Tom Mitchell versus Jelly. Titch versus Jelly. The two nicknames there. So
let Roy lead us off with Titch.
Roy, you're arguing on behalf of the pig, Titch over there.
The pig. So we're talking about that guy that has averaged 130 on multiple occasions. Is that the one we're talking about?
I'll ask you the season. What was the season?
Lost this debate again straight away.
Look, this is just the biggest gift. Even though you're having this argument, I assume that you're going to start with him as well.
Correct, mate. Correct.
It is the easiest pick of the season. So, he's played at Hawthorn with Sam Mitchell, who obviously hated him, for want of a better word.
There's no other explanation, really.
No, he played him so far out of position and so disrespectfully that it was painful to watch. Now, the beauty of it, watching it unfold, was just thinking, wow, how cheap is he going to be next year for us if he can get out of that place? Now, he's obviously escaped and he's going to be straight back in the midfield. I think the Pies want him for everything that he's good at, finding the pill and getting it out to everyone else. So it's like a pig back in his happy hunting ground. He's in the pen. It's going to be dirty. And 100%. I just can't see how this fails. Now, I'm nearly at a point where I'm calling 105 a fail because I am so confident of this 110 mark for him to hit. It's 20 points off what he can do. It's still a mile off his best. Now, the negative is obviously, I'm probably stepping on your toes.
No, you're good.
But
keep going.
The Pies' game style is obviously, it's not like it used to be. It's not an absolute pig fest for everyone. However, Tom Mitchell doesn't need total fantasy-friendly situation to dominate. All that little pig needs is to be around the ball, and the fact that I think he is around the ball is that his upside is phenomenal.
Yeah. No, look, like you said off the top, I'm kind of not going to be debating against Titch. I'm kind of probably more going to be trying to convince people to maybe go with Kelly as well. So Titch is in my team too.
Some people out there are not Titch believers.
See, this is the thing, and I've said this on previous podcasts. I've said you don't lose by going with him. The only scenario where you lose is by going against him. If you go with him and he doesn't go super well, then most of the important people have him, and so it doesn't hurt your ranking. But if you go against him and he goes 120, then you may as well wave goodbye to your season. So I'm on the Titch bandwagon. And the other thing for me with that is, why bring a guy into your club to play him out of position? Why bring a guy into your club to play him on the pine? Like, we all know he's going straight in the middle. Like you said, Roy, he's going to get dirty. So I don't think you can lose on that Titch one. But let me talk to you about Josh Kelly as well, because perhaps there's room to have them both in there, and I've definitely had both of them at some stages during the preseason. So he's a guy that his scoring is linked with his CBAs, which we say for most people, but Kelly, and we've spoken about this on the pod as well, don't be fooled by his light frame. This guy can win it inside with the best of them, and he's clean as. Not only is he a great fantasy player at his best, but he's just so good to watch as well. He's just so smooth. So if you have a look at the GWS CBAs from last year, and I'm talking the whole team, it was cooked. It was all over the shop. You've got 9 guys in there. You've got guys starting in there. You've got guys ending the year in there. It was just an absolute shit show. Yeah. And I fully expect for that to be rectified going into this season. And I think Adam Kingsley will be locking in his core of kind of 4 or 5 guys. And it would leave me flabbergasted if Josh Kelly's not one of those guys. So we're talking last year, of the 9 games where he tonned up, 7 of those tons were 115 plus, and 6 of those tons were 120 plus. So when he goes big, he likes to rack them up. So for me, at his best, Kelly is a captaincy option. Coming off what he's done in the last 2 years, you probably wouldn't feel good about it, but he's definitely a guy that if he gets into his season, you could put the VC on him, you could put the C on him. So that, if he gets his role, which I expect him to, then that's a positive for Kelly. Now, the other thing to note is we've got to go back 2 years. So we go back to 2021. At the start of the season, he started without CBAs, and then basically the minute he got CBAs around that kind of round 8 mark onwards, he then went on to average...
He got forward status, if I remember correctly.
Because of the start, yeah. So he averaged, at the end of the season, 63% CBAs, and during that same time, he averaged 110.
Yeah.
So
it's big.
Yeah, it is. And 63% CBAs, that's not all that high either. Like, I see a scenario this year where he goes to 70% CBAs, and we're kind of imagining what he can do there. What are your thoughts, Roy?
I'm 100% with you on this, and there is room for both of them. I totally agree. So I'm like you. I can't give a real argument against here because I think both of them have so much genuine upside. Even in that the underpriced premium article I wrote a few weeks ago, or probably might have even been last week, I had to pick three, underpriced who I think are uber premiums, and I went with Mitchell, Kelly, and McRae because I think all three have that genuine upside. Despite none of them come cheap, but what they can all do is significantly better than what we saw last year. And Kelly's done. He's done that 116 before.
He's led the league in points.
He's had a 113 season and he's had a 110 season, and in both of those seasons he had ceilings of 150 plus. Points per minute was up near
nuts.
1.1.
If we were highlighting Titch's playing out a role, Josh Kelly had fewer CBAs than Tom Mitchell.
Yeah.
So in terms of like the upside, both of them, I think, have the same upside in terms of increase in their inside midfield time.
They both fit that mould too of there's something new about them. It's not just same old. So we've got new coach at GWS. Okay,
yes.
Although he may come with that Richmond game style, I think he's going to kind of solidify those guys in the CBAs. I'm hoping Kelly's one of them. And then obviously with Titch, he's going to a new club. So it's kind of something's changed, which means that we can have cause to think that maybe that scoring will increase.
They actually are very similar in terms of their situation. Like both guys, sort of around that 50% CBAs. We know that they can both go 110 plus. Both of them have changes in terms of their game style. Titch going over to Collingwood, we've got worry about Craig McRae's system. Kingsley coming over to the Giants, we're worried about that system with the Richmond ties. They're actually remarkably similar. I guess it's just, who do you believe in terms of the scoring upside? Kelly's a little bit younger than Tom Mitchell. Averaged 5 points better last year, but obviously making Tom Mitchell cheaper. So
they're both good picks.
I think they're both good picks. Personally, I'm struggling in terms of structure. If I can fit as many as I can, there actually to me are a lot of good midfield picks this year. So it's just in terms of what can you fit in there?
Yeah, so I think with Kelly, I feel like Kingsley. Like he's certainly going to have some of those good Richmond traits, but you look at the makeup of the team and it's completely different. Like,
that's true.
And I think, and I have heard a couple of things come out of there about not being afraid to have an attacking game style as well. So if I got wind that Kelly was going to hit that 70% sort of CBA in an attacking game style.
Yeah.
That's 110.
He can still go
walk up.
He'd almost be a must-have in that situation, in my eyes.
So he's got that massive tick, but I do really want to hear some strong words, or maybe if we see it in the preseason games, that could be enough. With Tom Mitchell, one thing I've noticed with him, how much, and you've only got to look at his socials or chat to him he's just so up and about. Like he's genuinely excited to be there.
Yeah.
He's in ripping nick. Like he's a fit little pig at the moment. He's looking sharp as.
Yep.
I just can't see both of them dropping at all, and I can see them both putting, over 10 on.
Yeah, how many can you have? Let us know down in the comments, guys, on YouTube as well. And a good time for me to remind you, if you haven't, guys, already subscribed as well, make sure you hit that subscribe button. Roy, I don't know if you know, but we're on a target to 1,000 subscribers. So everyone out there, if you haven't already, go and hit that subscribe button, and we would very much appreciate it. Let's move on into the final debate here. A couple of forwards now for you, Roy. We're going again another Blues boy, a guy I think you were from memory hot on last season. Started off well, but didn't end up sort of as high as we might have liked. And I'm going to be backing in my boy from the Roos LDU. So I'll start you over there with Adam Cerra. What are your thoughts on him?
All right. Okay. Last year he started in a blaze of glory. I think round
110 or something.
I think he hit. Yeah, and I think it was from that magical 70% CBA number that we're talking about. he got to showcase what he's bringing to the club. Now, unfortunately, he got, I think he got COVID after that. And then I diagnosed him with long COVID, so he took a while to recover. He copped some injuries.
You diagnosed him, did you?
With the long COVID. I think he was rat test COVID then. I think he had long COVID. I was just monitoring his symptoms and CBAs.
Right.
And I think it was a long COVID situation.
That was more of a probe test from you, wasn't it, as well, Roy? A bit of a probe test to determine the...
100%. Now, so what I'm trying to say, he had a very interrupted season through illness and also injury. So it was very stop-start.
Yep.
As a result of that, we saw CBAs drop even from that round one. Now, we got to see a preview towards the end of the year where he started to get some legs and his CBA started increasing, pushing back up towards that 60% mark, that type of thing. And his scoring reflected that massively. I think in his last 4 games, he averaged about 108. And he had another thumper when Walsh wasn't there, I think, in that Pies game as well. Now, 129.
Yeah,
now, he's going to start the season without Walsh. I think from all reports, fit and firing, so should hit that 70% CBA. I think he can do 105.
Yeah, look, I don't think it's crazy. I think it's a legitimate play. And again, I'm going to be arguing for LDU. And again, they're remarkably similar in the ways that they both finish the season really strong. Both of them have an injury-affected game in their scores on top of the fact that they finished the season strong, and both have potential increases in roles and obviously with the Cerra factor, you've got the absence of a Sam Walsh. My main thing for Cerra is that I don't like to have a player that I'm relying on other people to be absent for him to be at his best. I still think that he. You know, that Blues midfield, you've got Hewitt in there, you've got Cripper, Sam Walsh when he's coming back, Doc might be going in there. Even Kennedy pops his head in there. It's a deeper midfield than maybe we thought of a couple of years ago. And I think that whilst Cerra will be in there a little bit, when they've got healthy bodies, I still see him as that guy who is probably more wing first, inside second. Again, we don't know how long Sam Walsh is out. We've known he recovers from injuries pretty quickly in the past. Last year with the dreaded sin, he came back pretty quickly from that. Yeah. For me, I don't like to rely on that becoming the reason that I've got a player. As for LDU, I sort of see nothing but upside for him. Again, when we saw the second half of the year, and I know it feels a bit dirty having a kangaroo in your midfield as a premium mid, but
especially when you have to pay for it.
Yeah, that's right. Yeah, when it's not a cash cow. But the way I see it, the ruse, it's time. I mean, it's not time for anything super special, but it's time to not be a bottom two. You know, like it's only up from here, right?
It's time
like
not
you can't get worse. Am I wrong? You've got nowhere to go but up.
Right. Not to be bottom two.
Yeah,
I think that's probably their catch call at training.
I think that's what when they get in the huddle, they go, not bottom two.
It's time to not suck.
Yeah. But I think, Clarko's coming in. You've said it before, Luke. Everyone with a coach like Clarko,
an aura, doesn't there?
You walk around with your chest puffed up a little bit more. You grow a couple inches.
I thought you were going to say you grow a couple of.
Hey, we're not talking about your team name here. But what we're talking about with a player like LDU in the back half of the season, averaged 106 on a not so good Roos team. His CBAs went from sort of that 60% in the first half of the year to 80% and above in the second half of the year. He and Simpkin are their guns in there. He's not moving from that position, in my opinion. And he's been a bit of a slow burn. He's gotten better every single season.
Yeah.
It's kind of one of those breakouts that I like to pick where it's not completely just throwing a shot out in the dark. We've seen a good sample size of it already, and the progression to me is sort of pointing that way. And I think that price at 93 or whatever he is, I think he has a chance to be like what you're projecting Cerra to do. I think he can be 105 plus and be sort of close enough to that sort of top tier premium mid level. So
Yeah, he's got a decent progression. I think you mentioned it, Mitch, but I think he's gone from sort of a 71 to an 82 to kind of a 93 guy.
He's been a slow burn. He's not a guy that's kind of come out and just absolutely smashed it.
Has he spent any time in your team at all, Roy, or LDU?
No, he's definitely, he's not even on my, I didn't invite him to training.
Poor bloke.
He will not spend any time on
why
my
is that?
field even in the preseason.
Why is that? Why are you discounting
He's not a big name, is he? I know you guys love the big names.
Yeah, and he's a premium that plays for North Melbourne. And you're paying for someone who's playing for North Melbourne. Yeah, it's just enough to turn me off. I'm a fan of LDU. I reckon he's a great player, and I agree he's moving in the right direction towards that triple figures. But no, it's a big no for me.
I will say he averaged all of that, and he only had one win on the season. The second win that the Roos had was the game that he got injured. So he's done this all in basically every single game lost. He manages to put up a 145, a 127, a 129, a 113, 121, all of them being in losses. So to me, if they get at least any more wins on the board or any more ball in their hands, to me, it's only upside from there. So that's why I'm pretty keen on him. I have him a little bit more over Simpkin. I just think that he's kind of taken over as that sort of dynamic, sort of attacking midfielder. But
we haven't mentioned as well. His name's Luke, and it's one of the better names.
We've got Luke. We've got Mitch. We got everything on here. Where are the Roys at?
What I took out of that stat you gave me is they're pretty much better off without him. They win as many games without him.
Well, he should be requesting
he
a trade.
might not even make the 22. Yeah.
We'll get on to Parker and let him know that, hey?
Yeah, 100%. No, I think I am with you on that, and he is a good pick, especially if you like a unique or if you got something wrong with you and you go for a ruse or something like that.
Just a sicko. I want to put myself through those terrible games.
Realistically, and like I said, I think Cerra can do that 105, but you make a good point that then when they're fully fit, he is one that will probably get nudged back out. Yep. So I'll probably bring it back to a 12-point increase. I think he can do that 100. I think he's priced about 88, and I reckon he can do the 100.
That'd still be a decent pick, I think. I think
yeah, for sure.
Yeah. So let us know down in the comment section below, guys, what your thoughts are and who do you think. Who did we convince you on LDU and the bottom feeder North team? Or
I better give you. I've got a North squirt for you. Actually,
okay. Hit us.
So you mentioned the two boys at North that are going to be the main men in the middle. Simpkin and LDU.
Yeah, okay.
Squirt says one of them isn't actually going to be spending the amount of time at the CBAs that you think.
Oh, okay.
And did the Squirt reveal which one of these two? Or?
They did.
Oh, okay. Well, we'll leave that for you to break your show. Hey?
I'm hoping you didn't.
No. I'll tell you. Apparently it's Simpkin.
Oh, okay. That's interesting. I
half back.
So keep an eye.
I don't know where else he played.
Maybe, I can't remember if it was half back or like that half forward roving role that they like to run the extra mid
maybe
behind
like
the ball.
Sam Walsh sometimes did that, maybe to avoid a tag or something like that.
And Dunkley used to do it as well, like an extra on baller starting out at the flank. But just don't take it as gospel, but keep an eye on that. In the preseason watch, just having extra eye on that.
Thank you for that, mate.
More reason to watch
doesn't
the
actually
Kangaroos.
affect LDU, but
maybe it's a good thing. More reason to watch the Kangaroos. There you go. Just like we didn't
one
need
reason
enough.
to watch the Kangaroos.
That'll do it for us today, guys. Before we get out of here, Roy, let us know what you guys over at the Traders have got going on. I know you guys got the Adelaide show, I think, coming up, and draft guides and records and lots of things happening. So let us know, what the people can do to find all that sort of stuff.
Oh, yeah, thanks for that. So we're going to Adelaide 25th of February. We've got a bit of a live show happening over there. So the deal is it's $20 a ticket. DreamTeamTalk.com, you can get your tickets. Nice. It's an afternoon show. So at 2:10, the Keeper League are doing a thing. Yeah, you actually get a free beer with your $20 when you come in. So pretty much covers it. Yeah, and then at 2:45 we're going on, and we'll just be doing a bit of stuff like team reveals and something like this, a bit of head-to-head stuff,
Yep.
we'll also have, Cal will bring his guitar out and sing a song and
Kumbaya.
Live concert as well.
We'll all hold hands
bloody
and
oath.
sing Kumbaya.
So yeah. Have you guys ever seen Cal do one of his live songs?
Oh, I haven't actually.
I have not, no.
I was actually
mate.
watching a few of your
you guys
old...
are in for a treat.
I was watching a few of your old videos actually the other day. I was going right into the archives and I was seeing some spicy stuff. Some of the first videos that
It
you guys
is
came out
dark down there.
with. It was good
don't go down
entertainment,
there.
mate. Trust me, it's good
Oh
entertainment.
yeah, it's horrible. So we're doing that anyway. So
Beautiful.
that's at the Highway. So that should be fun if you're in Adelaide, especially if you're struggling with your team. Between the Keeper League and us, and just nutting a few things out, you should be able to walk out of there with a pretty respectable squad to take on your mates. And I think the footy record must be coming out maybe this week or next. I reckon
Look out.
if your preseason hasn't started yet, I reckon when the AFL record drops, that's the time to turn it up a notch. Yeah, she's on then. Yeah.
Beautiful.
Awesome. Well, thanks so much for your time, mate. Again, thank you everybody to listening along. If you enjoyed the podcast, give this video a big thumbs up. Make sure again you're subscribed, and you can find us on Twitter, Ball Boys Fantasy, Luke at LukeRodjo17, and at RoyDT. So again, thank you very much, guys. We'll see you guys next time.
Thanks, Roy.
Bye.
Appreciate it, mate.